What's up, everybody? It's your boy Jaron Ikner back again with another star review. This time we're talking about Lil Wayne's new album, Funeral. And yeah, let's go ahead and dive into this. First off, I will say this. Lil Wayne is known for his rock star mentality. He's a self-proclaimed the last rock star in the game, which, you know, pretty much holds true if you look at the current landscape of the hip-hop community, who's doing what. Lil Wayne is basically the last rock star in the game. With that in mind, he's also known for his excessive output. If you remember, a long time ago, he was dropping mixtape after mixtape and putting out constant amounts of music. So this album, Funeral, kind of is a combination of those two ideas. His rock star mentality mixed with his output. This album clocks in at 24 songs. Now, that's a lot of music. Now, with that in mind, he did do it as a tribute to Kobe Bryant, who, you know, his number is 24. But with that said, some of this album does feel like filler. And it does feel like Lil Wayne did phone in some of this music, particularly on songs like Not Me, where it literally feels like he made that song in one day. His energy in some of these songs doesn't feel as charismatic as his previous albums, and it almost feels like as if though he's just kind of paying the bills. But there's a particular turning point in this album, and it happens around track 15, I believe, which is Sight and Silencers featuring The Dream. This is one of the few songs where we actually hear Lil Wayne sing and get really lyrical and deep. And this is actually, in my opinion, where the album begins to shift to something a little bit more enjoyable and a little bit more interesting to listen to in terms of what Lil Wayne has to offer in the story that Lil Wayne has to tell. Songs like, Ball Hard, which features the return of Little Twist, is a fantastic song. It's a good single, and don't be surprised if you don't hear that one on the radio. Another example is Piano Trap, which is one of the few times on the album where Lil Wayne actually feels like he's having fun. You have the beat switch up on there, which is a fantastic beat switch up. And the strongest verse from Lil Wayne on that entire album. And it also feels like Lil Wayne is actually, you know, having fun and doing something on this song. Line 'Em Up feels like the spiritual successor to A Milli. And if you listen to that song, you could actually hear Lil Wayne having fun and displaying a great amount of energy in this song compared to the other 10, 12, 13, 14 tracks leading up to it. The last 9 songs of the album could actually be its own great Lil Wayne album. I love that from Sights and Sounds all the way up to Wayne's World, you have a strong flow of Lil Wayne where you hear him having fun, saying cool bars, and doing something in a way that's only Lil Wayne can do. The first half of the album is not so much. Although I do like the production on the song Mahogany. That beat is incredible, and don't be surprised if you see that as a single. Lyrically and energetically, Lil Wayne just kind of feels like he's bored a little bit. And honestly, that's fine. I mean, you think about Lil Wayne's career and what he has to offer, he is one of the best rappers of all time. This is debatable depending on who you ask, but we know that Lil Wayne can rap. So for me, going into this album, I really wanted to hear more about what Lil Wayne wants to tell us, instead of just proving that he can rap. And that was actually one of the things that I liked about his previous album, Carter Fry, particularly the last song, where, you know, he reveals that his incident where he shot himself and the story behind that. You know, we get these insightful blips of Lil Wayne's mind state. And on this album, they're few and far between. 24 songs, it's a lot to go through. And I do appreciate the dedication on track 8, where he gave the 24 seconds of silence at the end of the song. It's pretty dope. But the listening value of this album, even when I was trying to write this review, I found myself skipping over a lot of songs, not necessarily because they're bad songs, because there's no bad songs in this album per se. There's not a lot of interesting songs. And Lil Wayne's known for being an interesting artist, presenting mind states and soundscapes that really showcase Lil Wayne's ability to be a unique artist. This is tried and true throughout his entire career. But on this album, I would say half the production feels like anybody can hop on those beats and do what Lil Wayne does. It's only when he really tries to push himself creatively, like on the song with The Dream or the song with XX, you start to hear these glimpses of what makes Lil Wayne Lil Wayne. And the fact that this album is 24 songs long, those moments are just few and far between. The obvious single in this song is a song featuring Adam Levine called Trust Nobody. It has the typical pop hook with Adam Levine over a poppy-ish type of hip-hop, modern rap beat. Typically, you know, I wouldn't really subscribe to this type of song. But in the context of the whole album, this is actually one of the stronger songs in the album. We have great content from Lil Wayne, strong lyrical content from Adam Levine, and the beat is good. Lil Wayne does his thing on it, but don't be surprised if you get sick of it in a couple months when you hear it all over the radio. That's for sure. Definitely feel like something that was contrived for the sake of the record labels and giving the money. You know how all that goes. But all in all, this album is not bad. I'm not over here like, oh man, I really hate this Lil Wayne album. However, I don't find myself returning to this album a lot. Maybe for the switch up on piano trap, maybe for the hilarious Wayne's World track, but all in all, there's not a lot of moments on this album where I'm like, yes! Whereas Carter 3 or Carter 5 had certain moments on there where I'm like, man, this is fantastic. This album has a couple of them, there are a few on there, but sprinkled across 24 songs is just kind of too much to really sort through all that. You do better to go and take songs off and make your own little version of your Lil Wayne playlist. And there's a lot to attribute to that. Maybe it's the way that the current industry is, with the fact that, the more songs you have on the album, the more record sales you do. Maybe it's the fact that it was a tribute to Kobe that made him go back into the booth and add a couple more tracks, which maybe made those songs feel kind of rushed. Or maybe it's the fact that Lil Wayne just wanted to prove that he could just keep rapping a whole bunch of music over and over again. But content and lyrically, he's not really offering much to the table that isn't really blowing my mind. Whereas on his last album, like I said, there's a few moments where I'm like, man, Lil Wayne's really pushing himself lyrically here. One thing that has to attribute to all this is the fact that, admittedly, Lil Wayne, he says himself that he doesn't pay attention to what's going on in the industry. He's not following other rappers, listening to new sounds, or even really paying attention to what's going on with world problems. So with that in mind, I think that kind of plays a lot into what Lil Wayne has to offer right now, is that him being trapped in his own bubble really makes it difficult for him to really push himself lyrically. I'm not saying that Lil Wayne needs to start diving into politics or speaking about global warming, but at the same time, if Lil Wayne did maybe open up his sight range a little bit, he may find himself being inspired to rap about something that's gonna push him and push his creative threshold. And like I said before, at the top of this review, Lil Wayne is one of the best rappers bar for bar, in my opinion, in the history of hip hop. But that's not enough for where he's at in his career. And this is the same issue that I have with most older artists, is that we already know that you can rap. Eminem, Jay-Z, other old rappers. We already know that your ability to rhyme words together and say creative stuff is already apparent. That's how you got to the position that you're on. But now, with hip hop evolving to where it's at, these artists are in an important position to really offer knowledge, insight, and understanding, and not only just being a rapper in the hip hop industry, but who they are as people. Because we have to keep in mind is that a whole generation is looking up to these artists, especially Lil Wayne, who arguably carved the whole current state of hip hop. All these artists are looking up to Lil Wayne to see kind of how to do it. I will say this album does a good job of keeping Lil Wayne's name relevant, but it's not doing anything to push Lil Wayne to the next level. Whatever that next level may be for Lil Wayne, who knows? He's already done everything that we ever needed him to do as an artist. So that's really the whole issue of all this, is Lil Wayne putting out music just to put out music? Or does he have a purpose behind it? It gets complicated. Anyways, tell me what you think. This is Jaron Ikner for Starstruck TV, giving Lil Wayne's The Funeral 2.5 out of 5 stars. If you're a Lil Wayne fan, you'll love this album. Make sure you subscribe and follow and check out Starstruck TV for more reviews, videos, skits, all kinds of crazy stuff. We out here. Smash that subscribe button. It's your boy. Peace.